Rabotai, we want to start. There is a sefer that's called Tivheit Chatzikut. Aninaim and Shmirat Anaim is by Harav Gamliel HaKohen Rabinowitz. He brings down over here on page Kuf Ein Bet regarding the importance of one attaching himself to tzaddikim. We see Baruch Hashem today, B'li and Hara, people, they put their money into big shuls, into mamish, make it beautiful like museums, extra long, which is there's a halakha in the Shulchan Aruch that the shul has to be bigger than any other house on the block. So people, if they come, they're going to know where the shul is. So people put all the money into it, they make it beautiful, fancy, and everything, Rabotai. But the problem is, Rabotai, when you make a shul only into davening without having the proper Talmidei Chacham to be able to teach you the Torah, Rabotai, in the end, just give it a few years. In the end, the shul, if you're lucky, is going to have a minyan, if you're lucky. And in the end, it's going to become a museum. If you guys don't believe me, if you ever get a chance, unfortunately, in certain places in Manhattan, where I've literally went and I saw, Rabotai, your mind will open, your mouth will open up by seeing the shuls. How humongous is it? But where are the people, Rabotai? They hardly get 10 people. They always try to find out, are you Jewish? Are you Jewish? Come inside. Rabotai, why am I trying to tell you this? We have to be able to attach ourselves to the tzaddikim, and not only the shuls, Rabotai. If you have a base measure or Beit Knesset where people daven, and there's no Torah learning over there, what's the whole purpose of davening, Rabotai? You need, I'm not chas v'shalom not to daven, but you need to have to make sure that in that shul you also have learning. A shul without learning, Rabotai, I don't want to say it, it's like, I don't even want to say it, Rabotai. It's not good, Rabotai. It's very hard. It's very hard just to come to daven, just to treat a shul. It's chas v'shalom like a husband going home. I don't want to say that about a husband going home just to use his wife for whatever he needs, and then he goes and he does whatever he wants after that. Rabotai, a shul is a makom where it's literally your home for not only tefillah, but also for learning Torah and attaching yourself to the Talmidei Chachamim that are sitting and learning Torah over there. In any event, Rabotai, he brings down over here, Rabbi Gamliel brings down over here, he says in Shemot, in Perek Chavted, Pasuk Lamed Zayin, guys, just try to bear with me, I'm going to try to break down the Pasuk for you. Shivat Yamim Techaper Al Mizbech, 7 days you should atone on the altar. Vikidashta Oto, and you sanctified it. V'haya Mizbech Kodesh Kedoshim, and the altar becomes Kodesh Kedoshim, becomes Holy of Holiest. Kol Anugei B'Mizbech Yigdash, anybody's going to touch the altar, he's actually going to become sanctified. Rabotai, I don't know if you guys know, there was a Mizbech HaChitzon, they had a humongous Mizbech outside, and also you had a Mizbech HaPinimi, there was a golden Mizbech inside. Right now we're speaking about the big Mizbech where they would always, all the time they would bring the sacrifices on it. So Rabotai, he says like this, B'Masechet Zevachim Daf Pei Zayin Amud Aleph, Darshu Chazal, V'zel HaShoynom, Tanu Rabbanan, the rabbis taught, Hanogei B'Mizbech Ein Le'ela Mizbech, Rabotai, because we said, anybody who touches the Mizbech becomes sanctified, becomes Kadosh. So he says, Ein Le'ela Mizbech, because the pasuk says, the one who touched the Mizbech, so we know from over there, anybody who touches the Mizbech alone, and then we know he's going to become sanctified. Keves Minayin, Rabotai, but there's a problem. How do we know, even if you touch the ramp, guys, make it very simple. If you had a Mizbech, correct, let's say this is the Mizbech, you had a ramp that where they would have to bring the korbanot and the kitor, the spices, to be able to sacrifice on it. So the Gemara is asking a question, how do you know that if a person touches the ramp that leads onto the altar, how do you know that even then you're going to become kadosh, you're going to become sanctified? So the pasuk says, et hamizbech. Why do I need the word et? To teach you even the ramp itself, that if anybody touches it, you're also going to become sanctified. Kli sharet minayin. What about the service utensils in the Beit HaMikdash? How do I know if a person touches that, he's going to become sanctified? Talmud loymar, kol hanugeya bahem yigdash. Because the pasuk says kol hanugeya. What is the all? It's coming to include even the service utensils. By mine Reish Lakish mi Rabbi Yochanan. Reish Lakish asked a question, Rabbi Yochanan. Kali shared maushik the shuat apasulun or not? Rabotai, let's do this carefully. What happens if you had? This is what I want to try to focus on. If you had a service utensils, can they also sanctify other service utensils which are disqualified, which are apasulin? Amarle, he said to him, Tinituha, we learned it already. כשם שהמזבח והכבש מקדישים את הראוי להן, just like the altar and the ramp is able to sanctify anybody who's proper for them, meaning רבותיי, only have to be kohanim, כך כלים מקדישים עד כאן לשון הגמרא. So to the kelim, so to the service utensils, that are able to sanctify even utensils which are not sanctified, they're also able to sanctify them. Up to here is the language of the Gemara. Now he wants to bring down a chiddush from over here to teach you the importance of attaching yourself to tzaddikim and tamdei chachamim. Umidivreim lamadnu, from their words we learn, al kiddushat hamizbeach, on the sanctity of the altar, usha'ar kelei hasharet, and other service utensils. Sha'al yidei shikdashum bebeit hamikdash, from the fact that they become sanctified in the Beit HaMikdash. Kol mi sherak nogei behem hitkadesh, anybody who just touches them becomes kadosh, becomes sanctified. Va'afilu kelim pesulim, even if you had disqualified utensils. Shenaga be'echad miklei hamikdash, even if it touched one of the service utensils in the mikdash, hitkadeshu gamhem, even they themselves would also become kadosh. So what do we see from over here, Rabotai? We're not dealing right now in the service utensils. We're not dealing right now with the Kohen touching the altar. We're dealing with utensils touching utensils. And look at the power that it has to be able to change one utensil to make it kadosh. So he says over here, Ko gadol hu kocha kiddush. Look how great the power of holiness is. Kiddush, look how great it is. Shekol mi shemitchaber v'nogei b'kiddusha. Anybody that he attaches himself and he touches something that is kadosh, a base marriage, a beit Knesset, Rabotai, Sefer Torah, books, Rabotai, anything that's kadosh, Rabotai, miyad naset tahor, immediately you become pure. Va'afilu kelim domimim, even Rabotai, if it's utensils which are silent, meaning they're not living. So if this is the case, he says like this, Kol sheken, for sure, Rabotai, meaning how much more so, mi shenogeu mitchaber la'adam hakadosh. How much more so if we speak about utensils, which are domain, which are not living objects that are able to sanctify you, meaning the kiddush that you see around you. How much more so, Rabotai, if a person attaches himself to a holy person? Shebavadai alav ne'emar, Rabotai, for sure, and this person is said, Kol hanogei bo yikdash. Anybody who touches him becomes kadosh. Ukmo she'amar Chazal Baba Kama Daf Tzadik Bet Amud Bet, hamuchubar letahor tahor. Anybody who attaches himself to somebody who's tahor, he becomes automatically also tahor. Rabotai, he says over here, Zehu be'etzem inyan hitkasherut el tzadikim. Here we go. Rabotai, in reality, Rabotai, what are we dealing over here with? The whole matter we're dealing over here with a person attaching himself to the tzadikim, Rabotai. Not to tzvi, to news, no. Not to stam any Joe Shmo Chas v'Shalom, Rabotai. But to the tzadikim, Rabotai, real tzadikim. Shebezem mikayem, Rabotai, with this he fulfills. Kol hanogei bo yikdash. Anybody who touches it becomes kadosh. Umitkadeshu biyoter al yidei zeh, Rabotai. When you're dealing with tzadikim, when you're hanging on to them, when you're learning with them, Rabotai, automatically you always become sanctified much more and more. Inyan zeh mivur birishonim v'kach ro'im anu lehedi b'pasuk zeh. This matter is brought down in Rishonim, and we also see this pasuk openly over here. Ukvar katav Rambam, Rabotai, Hilchot Deot Perek Vav Halacha Bet, v'zeh lashoino. Here we go. Mitzvat aseh lidabek b'chachamim v'talmidehem. There is a positive commandment to attach yourself to the chachamim, meaning to the rabbis and their students. Rabotai, I want to be very nice when I say this. I don't chas v'shalom mean anybody, Rabotai. In my mind, I don't understand. When people come on Friday and Saturday, the shul is packed. I'm not telling you not to daven. Continue doing what you're doing. On Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, on Sukkot, Shavuot, all the Chagim people come and they daven, Rabotai. They come, Rabbi John, how are you? Rabbi John, how are you? What are you doing? What did you just accomplish? You came, you davened, that, you think that's a connection between you and the rabbi? And then you leave and you receive a whole week. Or until maybe Shachari Minchan, so you come back and daven. But throughout the day, you're not there learning with the rabbi, Rabotai. That is not attaching yourself to the tzaddikim and their students, Rabotai. I want to teach you guys something. In Masechet Yom, I believe it says that if anybody wants to become rich, they call it, you have to rub your shoulders with the rich men. You want to become a Talmid Chacham? Start rubbing your shoulders with Talmidei Chachamim. You want to become Amaris? You guys know what to do. Come, daven and leave, and don't learn. Rabotai, Rabbi Walkin, Harav Agon, Rabbi Moshe Walkin Shlita told me that his father, Shmuel David Walkin Zatzal, used to say, a person can go to sleep, he can wake up, he become a millionaire. It happens. People become, somehow the money was, or he won the lottery. Overnight, he become a millionaire. Rabotai. A person can go to sleep in Amaris in ignoramus, he'll wake up in the morning, same ignoramus the way he went to sleep. Calls, man, you don't open the book, you don't start breaking your head. You don't start sitting next to rabbis and asking the rabbi, teach us Torah. Rabotai, forget it. I'm not talking about the Torah where the rabbi sits and he tells you parasha. Rabotai, this is good learning Torah. I'm talking about real Torah. Pen, paper, open. Questions asked. Like learning Gemara, Rabotai, halachot in depth, etc. So he says, the Rambam says, Rabotai, there's a mitzvah asel the beg with chachamim v'talmidehem. There's a positive commandment to attach oneself to the chachamim and their students. In order for you to learn from their actions. Like the pasuk says, the pasuk tells us in Devarim, in Sefer Devarim, in Perek Yud, pasuk Chaf, a person has to attach himself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. How do you do it? How does a person attach himself to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? From over here, Rabotai, it's even stronger proof, in my humble opinion, to what I'm trying to tell you. When you want to show me that you want to be close to Hashem, so you come and you daven 3 times a day, but you don't learn Torah throughout the day or throughout the week, Rabotai, it's a very big problem. Because the real attachment to Hashem is through the rabbis, when you're sitting and you're learning with them, or you're attending them, whatever it might be. So how does a person attach himself to Hashem? Is it possible for a person to attach himself to the Shekhinah? It's impossible. Hashem is fire. When the Chachamim said, attach yourself to the rabbis, Masechet Ketubot Daf Kuv Yur Aleph Amud Bet, Bepirush Mitzvah, in explaining this mitzvah, Hidabeg Bechachamim V'Talmidehem. You want to attach yourself to Hashem? There's only one way, Rabotai, through the rabbis. That's the way. Lefichach Rabbi Yisai, Tzarich Adam Lishadal. A person needs to try. Sheisa Bat Talmid Chacham. A person needs to try to marry a daughter of a Talmid Chacham. Rabotai, I know today everything's much more important. Money, cards. Is he a doctor? Is he a lawyer? You can be a lawyer and a doctor and also be a Talmid Chacham, Rabotai. One does not take away from another. People can do two, 3 things at one time. Not a big deal. But that shouldn't be your main thing. Rabbi, I want to tell you something. Low lane, Rabotai, nobody should know. Unfortunately, I came across certain situations where girls were Beis Yaakov. And I don't want to say Beis Yaakov in Shevach. Rabotai, I'm telling you right now. Ever since they got married, Baruch Hashem, and hearts to doctors, and they have houses, and they live well. Rabotai, today they're wearing those, pants, no skirts, no covering. Rabotai, what happened to the Shevach education? What happened to the Beis Yaakov education? Because he has a job, has a good job. I didn't say not to have a good job. Everybody has to have a job because you have to support the family. But Rabotai, where's your priorities? What happened to Olam Haba? You only concerned about Olam Haba? Fine. Rabbi say in the end, Chacham say when you give your daughter to an ignoramus who's not learned, Rabotai, it's like giving your daughter to a hungry animal. You know, a hungry lion. Don't feed him 3-4 days and then throw your daughter inside. Rabotai, because the only thing that can help a person is Torah. Nothing else can help us. Rabotai, so he says, guys, give me a few more minutes. She said, Talmid Chacham, he should marry the daughter of Talmid Chacham. V'yasi b'tol Talmid Chachamim. Rabotai, he should also make sure that he marries his own daughter to a Talmid Chacham. Ule'echol v'l'shot im Talmid Chachamim. You should eat and drink with Talmid Chachamim. V'laso parkmakia l'Talmid Chachamim. You should also make business with Talmid Chachamim. Ule'tchaber lahem b'kol minei chibur. With anything that you are able to attach yourself to the Talmid Chachamim, attach yourself. Shenemar, like the pasuk says, ulevako bo, that a person has to attach himself to Hashem. Except Rabotai, he can't. I don't have the time, Rabbi. I do apologize, but he continues to bring you more proof one after another. The importance, Rabotai, of attaching to Talmid Chachamim. Don't come to shul and say you want to be with Hashem, but you daven shacharit mincha narvit and not showing up throughout the year, meaning throughout the whole week. Where are you, Rabotai? Where are you? Ask yourself: do we really want to be close to Hashem, or are we coming just to, as an obligation, check in and check out? Baruch Adonai Olam, Amen, Amen.